Guys, this is Cindy with EZC Productions. Welcome to my channel. So today's video is just going to be a little bit about the weather and another clip from my geologist. It was a remainder of yesterday's clip where he's answering some questions that we had some questions coming from some viewers. I do want to say thank you very much to everyone who participated and giving their recommendations as to what car they see me in. Greatly appreciate that. Let's see, the Subaru Baja is one that I definitely want. I missed an opportunity to buy one about 2 months ago. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the Prius, and I lost the opportunity to get that. So I will continue to look for that. I think if it becomes available again, I am going to snatch it. Let's see, the expensive car, I don't remember if it was a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW, but that is beautiful. I just can't afford that. And then, I mean, I have to have money in case something does break, because it's expensive parts and an expensive car to fix. The Honda Accord, I will look into that. I do love Hondas. I have a Honda Ridgeline. They're really good cars. Toyotas are really good cars, but the smart car that I have, I'm gonna stay away from in the future. I would love the Ford Bronco, the new Ford Bronco, whenever it comes out. So that would be a goal. The Jeep, oh God, yes. If I find another XJ, I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna keep it, because I had one before and I sold it. Yeah. The Volvo, I love Volvos, but it's the one that I liked was a wagon, and really it's just me, and I don't need the wagon. But I do need to find something that's all-wheel drive or good in the snow. The Prius was actually really good, which I was surprised. But again, I need to trade it. Let's see, what else? The weather. The weather's been crazy, as you guys can see from yesterday's clip and the clips before that. We did have snow and freezing temperatures, and I think this week we're gonna have rain. I think it was like 1 day of rain, but I'll add a clip to that. You're gonna see footage and images from I-82 and from Highway 97. And it looks like Union Gap is actually working on the irrigation canal. You'll see some footage of that as well. All right, so stay tuned for a clip from my geologist. He is discussing more topics on the Rattlesnake Ridge and answering some questions that had popped up from our viewers. So thank you very much, guys, for coming by. Thank you very much for giving your recommendations. And this is Cindy with EZC Productions. And one thing before I let you go, the Mustang. Yeah, that would be awesome. All right, thank you, guys. And please remember, if you like our videos, you like what I'm doing, please remember to hit like and also subscribe if you haven't yet. And feel free to share my videos. I'm okay with that. I really think what's going on here in Yakima, Union Gap, with the Rattlesnake Ridge is huge. It's going to be ugly when it does come down. I mean, right now it's just huge cut, and it looks really bad. Not sure how it's going to look or how long it's going to take, but yes, Bill's right. I am going to be here. All right, guys. So thank you. And this is Cindy with EZC Productions.
stress that might be going on originally. This was done for another exercise, just basically a water exercise, but this picture was taken on the 30th. But this is an inferred geologic structure, a little graben structure is what we call it. And you can see lines on both sides. And I think this is what Cindy's pointing out. And yes, it's activated. It's going to continue to probably push up on this, and cracks are going to develop in and around this general area. But as you can see, where was it? Yes, the report, they had the inferred structure, geologic structure of boundary. That's what they're pointing out. The dilation effects in this LiDAR image are progressing a little farther than that actual boundary, which makes sense. But I think that is translating into the quarry face, and that's why we're seeing a little bit of probably it's hard to tell without actual pictures, but that's probably looking back at the original quarry shot that we, this seems a little more void of rock at the moment. So I would suspect there is probably some significant rock fall going on in here, and it makes sense. So, other than that, I think, I do believe there was a question. This was a little further north on it's still on the western face, and I think I just needed winter in full force, because I had seen these pictures before, but the trees with vegetation on it had limited the view, so I wasn't going to make any kind of opinions on this. But yes, looking at this now, this is certainly an old landslide, and it may have an impact on this one. I do think this ridge is experiencing a little change in balance. No question about it. With everything that's happening and everything that will happen, the balance of this ridge is going to change. But yes, this is just before the northwest corner, before you, just as you enter from the, coming in from the west to east, you'll see this probably in more of Cindy's pictures. I'm certain that she'll take more pictures of this, because yes, this is a definite scarp face here, and this is certainly landslide material, no question about it. This could be a little bit on the new side up here, but yes, that's what you're seeing is just talus from an old landslide. When it happened, I would venture a guess it's got to be at least 50 years old, somewhere in that ballpark, maybe more. But we'll certainly keep an eye on this. This doesn't have an impact directly on the slide that we're looking at, but again, if we start messing with the balance of this ridge, we might see other problems going forward. And I think the basic elements that we're looking for here going forward, and this is a good topics for discussion, the main driving forces that are going to change this particular slide into rapid failure are one of two things, and that's it. And that is excess water and seismic loading. Seismic loading meaning any significant seismic activity that is going to change the angle of the basal slip surface inside the quarry. Right now, it is believed to be in the 15-degree range, which is, for all intent and purpose, relatively flat. It doesn't look it here, but I see nothing so far to suggest that it's anything more than 15, maybe approaching 20. I mean, we'll see as we go along. I think as things start to break loose, I think exposure will help us here find things. Is it all flat line? Are there dips in the rock beds at any point that may indicate more of a western movement, southwestern movement? We'll see. I think we'll see a lot of that going forward. But when you're dealing with essentially 15 degrees above ground surface, you're not talking about a whole lot of dip here. And that is why, if we were at 30, 40, 50 degrees, yes, be a totally different situation. But if seismic activity can get this thing up around 25 in that ballpark, which wouldn't take much, that could change everything. And of course, excess water, which we are not getting. Again, we temper our water discussions, drainage discussions, with the point that this is a semi-arid region. This is not a humid region, meaning that water, any amount of rain, has to be significant here, I think, to make a real difference into what's going on. It's just not. Most of the rain, if it's light, it's pretty much going to evaporate before it infiltrates. So I don't think we're going to have a big issue with that unless we can get. And comments have come up that spring is coming, and we could get that. Yes, that would change this. 5 days, 6 days straight rain. That would be something that we would have to, and we'll look to all our viewers to look out for. And of course, the seismic activity in general, which there has been a slight uptick in this general area. Nothing significant now, but as I look at all the seismic data around that general vicinity, and what I mean that is, I take the the quake in Mexico, for example, and surrounding quake, the Aleutian Islands, experiencing a great deal of activity. I do believe it's just a matter of time till an area like this, because it is on a moving plate, does experience some kind of significant activity. It just seems to me that they've been dodging a bullet for quite a while now, and I tend to think that, for lack of a better word, we're due. Short of that, one other question was, I do believe there was a comment about the odor of sulfur in the quarry from people that were trespassing. That's possible. I would caution that there is a landfill nearby, and the hydrogen sulfide, it's not necessarily sulfur. I think what you're smelling when you say rotten eggs, you're saying hydrogen sulfide. When you say that, basalt can do that. There may be residual hydrogen sulfide from this formation. The cracks are opening it up. It's certainly something worth looking at. I'm not encouraging anybody to go up there and monitor that. However, I would have to believe again that the people that are going up there to monitor it, if they do see a significant uptick in that, I think they're probably going to start monitoring it. But again, I want to caution everybody that about less than 10 miles to the north here, there is a landfill, and depending on the wind direction, for any of you that ever lived or driven by landfills, you know that they can carry a great distance, and they do stink. Having spent my early part of my career, 3-4 years in landfill design, I can tell you that it's probably one of the worst kind of jobs that you would ever want to get involved with. It isn't fun. Yes, you eventually get used to it, but that doesn't mean it's good. So I would caution, there is no indication that I can see that there's any lava forming underneath of this. Again, we're close. Mount St. Helens is only about 30 miles to the west. It's not like it's an absurd idea by any stretch of the imagination, but in this case, I am not seeing any indication whatsoever that magma and activity associated with that is occurring here. Again, we'll continue to look at it, and there will certainly be signs of it, and the signs would obviously be seismic, and we would get repetitive seismic signatures if there is magmatic activity at this particular slide. We will see it. Looking at the seismic data real quick, just as a quick review, we did. It does seem like they're having issues with the fans that farmers are using to keep the fields from freezing. So I think there's a whole nother set of battles going on with that as far as the seismic data. but there has been movement in the slide. So as we're all aware, yes, there is still movement. I would tend to think the 1.7 a week, feet per week, is a good, looking at it now, but I don't see, just as a review, I don't see, I mean, as we can see, the quarry's still in pretty good shape here. I think that will change in the coming months, years. It may actually turn into one of the biggest eyesores in history, I would suspect. And it's a shame on a lot of fronts, but generally speaking, like I said, I think it's just creeping right along. And again, I think we just have to be leery about new cracks. Yes, we're going to see, like in this area, we're going to see new things show up, but how long do they stay that way? That is the keys to what we're looking at, to any kind of rapid failure. That is going to be the key. And you know, we encourage all of you to, if you see something new, to point it out. But we have to temper that with, yes, it could move, but it could stay that way for 6 months, a year, who knows? So, but I am certain Cindy's not going anywhere, and she will continue to look at this. Again, I think that wraps up this somewhat long-winded version of review, but again, we thank you so much for watching us and sticking with us here. We hope to have other things coming along in the future that to look at this slide, look at the history of it, and we'll certainly pass that along when that information does in fact come available. But again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all again real soon.